Hello everyone, welcome to Unplugged 404. In today's video, we will be installing Tableau. Also, I will be discussing about the interface of Tableau as well, because as a Tableau user, it's really important to have some knowledge about the interface of Tableau as well. So let's begin with today's session. So to download Tableau, what you need to do is, you need to open up a browser, go to tableau.com, and here you'll see a section named the products, and then you need to click Tableau Desktop. After that, you need to go on and click here, try it for free, and here you need to enter your business email address. So it can be any email address, your Yahoo email address, Gmail email address, outlook.com, or your company.com, anything. So I have already entered this email address, and you need to click download free trial. Now the download will begin in few seconds. So let's wait for it to complete the download, and then I'll explain it further. So whenever the download is completed, you need to open the file and you'll see a window like this. So now it's just a basic installation method. You must have gone through these installations a million times. What you have to do is you need to accept the terms and conditions here, and it's up to you if you want to send the product usage data to Tableau or not. I would prefer to send them the usage data, and then you need to click install and click yes, because we will be running this as an administrator. And let's wait for this to install in our system. So it might take a minute or two depending upon your system hardware basically. So let's wait for it to complete first, and then I'll carry on further. Now when your download completes, the Tableau will run automatically and you'll see a window like this. Now it's basically a home page of Tableau. To go through the interface of Tableau, so this right here, the main panel here is the recent workbooks page. So all the recent workbooks you have worked on would be visible here. Right down the bottom, right here, you'll see all the sample workbooks and all the sample data sets which are already available in Tableau. It's basically pre-installed. You don't need to download it from anywhere. And if you wish to see more sample workbooks and data sets, you can click here, more samples, and it'll open a window, a Chrome window or a browser window, and here you'll see plenty of other data sets and workbooks to work on. So it's basically useful if you want to do some experiments, or if you want to learn some new things, or if you want to digest some new concepts. So these kind of sample workbooks or sample works are pretty much important in that case. So moving further, right side here, right panel, is basically dedicated to learn new things and to understand Tableau better. As you can see, it has getting started tab, then connecting to the data, how you want to connect it, and it'll basically teach you and guide you how you can connect your data. Then if you want to get some insights on visual analytics, or if you want to understand Tableau, and more training videos. So it's basically official training videos from Tableau. And if you want to get some resources, so you can get Tableau Prep. It's basically to prepare your data, to clean your data, or if you want to do any modifications in your data set. And if you're interested to read the blogs, and if you want to follow Tableau, so these links are right here. If you want to check out their forums, or if you want to read their blogs and all. So moving further, if whenever a new update comes in Tableau, it should highlight here. So for instance, I just updated it last night, so it automatically pops up here. So when you open Tableau and there's an update which needs to be installed, so it'll pop up right here. And to the left hand side, you'll see connect option here, and there are a variety of sources through which you can connect your data with Tableau. So first you can search for your data in Tableau server. If you have your data in Tableau Cloud, you can search it right from here. Or if you have your data as a downloadable file, as a downloaded file, for instance, if you have an Excel sheet or a text file or a JSON file or PDF, or there are many other, I would say, file types you can select. So these are file types, and there are many other file types you can choose from. So next up is connecting your data from a server. So let's say your data is in a server, for instance, it's in MySQL, so you can click here and you can type in the server details and you can sign in, and simply you can import the data, as simple as that. And as I mentioned before, these are the sample datasets which are already installed in Tableau. So next up, I will show you the interface of the working environment of Tableau. So to get into the working environment of Tableau, we need to open a data set or a workbook. So I will be going for sample workbook, sample superstore, and we will be opening this. So whenever you open a sample workbook, you should see something like this. Lots of tabs, lots of work which has already been done, and a lot to digest. But no need to worry, we will be covering all these things one by one. To start with, we will be talking about these little tabs in the bottom. So the tabs with all these little square symbols are dashboards, and the tabs with just a font or just a name, for instance performance or forecast or what if forecast, so all these three tabs are worksheets, or you can simply say sheets. And there's one more thing, which is a story, which is right here with a symbol of a book, an open book to be precise. So to create a new story, you can click here, and to create a new dashboard, you can click here, little box with plus sign, and to create a new worksheet, you can click here. What things you'll be doing in a dashboard or in a story or in a worksheet, I will make a separate video explaining all these things. So moving further, now let's talk about the data source tab. Now this tab is very important for someone who would like to have a look how his data looks like. Now there are many things to cover on this data source tab. So as you can see, left top corner, you'll see a connections tab here, and you can add a new connection or a new data source apart from this if you want by clicking on add, and the process is the same. You can import your data from anywhere you want. You are having plenty of options. Next up, it's this little cylindrical symbol. So by clicking this, you will get three data sets, or no matter how many data sets are there in this sample superstore worksheet. So there are three data sets. in this sample superstore worksheet. Let's say I want to open sales commission dataset. Now this dataset view will change right here. If I want to open sales target extract, it'll open like this. And if I want to take a look over sample superstore dataset, here we have it. Now, moving further, there are two types of connections. Now, this is really important if you want to work on Tableau. Now, the first type of connection is live. What does this mean? It basically means your data is in the cloud, and if you want regular updates, for instance, you are working on a team and one of your team members is constantly updating the data, and you are getting your data refreshed on real time. So that is basically a live connection where your data set refreshes at a real time basis. Whereas if I go for extract, it will extract your data from the live session and you'll have this data on your desktop now. Now the most important part is it will not get refreshed live, obviously, because the data is now in your system. It's extracted now. So it's mostly people prefer to work on live connection because of getting the real-time analysis and real-time updates from the data. So we'll be moving on live, and there's one more option if you want to add any filter on your dataset. So if you want to add any filter, you can add a filter, and after that, if you want to get a new filter, you can click add here. And if you want to, let's say I want to go for an order ID, and I'll click OK, and then I'll simply go for select from list, and let's say I want to get the data for order ID, this one. I'll click OK, then again OK. So now I'll get the data of this order ID. That's it. Now if you want to remove the filter, you can either do undo or undo by Ctrl+Z, or you can simply go to the filters tab and edit it. Now there's one more thing to understand, that number of rows, how many number of rows you want to see right here. Let's say my data has 1 million rows, so and I want to take a look over 2000 rows. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to edit it right here. Let's say 2000, and here we have it, 2000 rows of our data set right in front of us. Also, if there are any let's say hidden fields in our data, for instance, if I want to see some hidden fields, I'll click here, and there we have it. So hidden fields basically are highlighted with slightly faded columns. So here you can see row ID and customer ID are the hidden fields, so which were not visible. Also the product ID here. So these fields were not visible but are now visible to you. Profit per customer as well, units estimate. So these fields were kept hidden by default. So it's up to you if you want to keep it hidden, or if you think that this data is going to affect your analysis, so you can keep it unhidden. You can check this sign and you can always keep it show hidden fields. Now if you want to sort your data as per these fields, let's say ascending order or descending order, or these are all the options you can go for. Now, next is these are basically the if you want to know the column names of your data set. So these are the column names of your data set, and it also shows about the from where this data is coming from. So these are the columns. For instance, row ID. This is coming from orders table, and it has a remote field name row ID, which is almost the same by default. And if you have created any calculation field, so I will be making a separate video on creating calculative fields. So whenever you create a calculative field, it'll show you like this. It basically, if I go to the default view and if I have created a calculated field, so there's gonna be a difference. For instance, so these are the default fields, the fields which are marked with blue bar, and these are the calculated fields which I calculated. So the difference is there are no blue bars, and you can see calculation is written over these columns. So there are two differences: no blue bars, and calculation is written on each column I have created right here. Yeah. So that's it if you talk about data source tab. Moving on, now we will be talking about a worksheet tab. Now, this tab is the workspace environment where you will be working most of your time in Tableau. If you want to get some data visualization, or if you want to do some analysis or forecasting, it will all be done right here. Now, so to make you understand about the interface of a Tableau worksheet, I took a screenshot and I labeled it. So to begin with, at the top left corner, you can see the name of the workbook. You can name anything you want. Moving further, there are many tiny logos, or you can say many tiny symbols or tools to choose from. So this right here is a toolbar, so you can choose any tool from these options to work on. After that, there are a couple of shelves which are available. So this is a column shelf and this is a row shelf. So you can drag your column or you can drag your data parameter from this side panel, which is a side pane, and you can drag it here and you'll see your results in this canvas or view area. So this canvas or view area is the area where you'll see the graphical representation. Moving further, right down the bottom, there is a dashboard. So moving further down to the bottom, you'll see dashboard, stories, and worksheets. So the tabs with tiny little boxes right here are like these, like for instance, overview, product, customers, commission model, order details. So these all are dashboards. Whereas where you see only text is available in a tab, for instance, forecast, what if forecast, performance. So these tabs are worksheets. So to create a new worksheet, you can click this little symbol with a plus sign. To create a dashboard, you can click here a little box with a plus sign, and to create a new story, you can click here a little book with a plus sign. So what these are, what are their workings, I will make a separate video on this. And also there's a data source tab, which I explained earlier, which is all about visualizing your data, and you can filter your data, and you can see the hidden fields in your data. So where your data is imported from. So data source does all those things. And there's one more thing, data and analytics pane. So this pane is basically available in at the top of the site pane, these two things, data and analytics. So in the data section, you would be able to see dimensions and measures and parameters. Whereas in Analytics tab, you would be able to see, I would say, you can do analytical part there. I'll show you that in a bit. And in this cards area, there are a few cards which are there to filter your data if you want to filter your data as per region or order date or as per your convenience. If you want to switch between pages or you want to manipulate with any page or something, you can do that in page card area. And marks cards, it's basically if you want to color your graph or you want to represent any size in your graphical representation, or if you want to create any label, or you want to define a path, or you want to create a path, and so on. Last but not the least is a status bar, which is right here at the bottom. It'll show you some aggregate values. Most of the time, it'll show you the sum of a parameter or sum of a column which you have selected. For example, we have selected some sales here, so it is showing us the sum of sales right here. So that's all. And coming back to the analytics and data pane, let me show this to you. Yeah, so this data pane basically shows you the data, these three data sets I am having right now, and these are all the dimensions, and these are all the measures, and these are all the parameters. Whereas if I want to create a filter with respect to a region, it's already created here, so I can edit the filter and do whatever I want to do with it. And if I want to color my graph, let's say I want to change the color, or I want to change the opacity, I can simply do it right here. Or if I want to change the color to, let's say, I want to change customer actual to, let's choose something different, golden maybe. Click apply, and here you'll see it's now a golden color. So there are many things to try right here, and in the later videos I'll deep dive into, when I deep dive into data visualization in the later videos, I will make sure I cover all these concepts, which are pretty much easy but yet very useful. And also one more little thing, there's a show me icon here as well, which basically gives you a quick look what all graphs are available. So how it works is, for instance, if I create a new worksheet and I want to create a graph with order date and let's say profit, so I'll just select these two options, I'll go to show me, and it'll show like all these graphs are available apart from disabled ones. So these are which are colored ones, these are enabled for me to choose from. So it basically gives you its own what do we call it, its own suggestions to choose from. So you can, let's say I want a stacked bar chart, so I'll click here and there I have it, a stacked bar chart. Or if I want a horizontal bar, you can make it a vertical bar by clicking here, which will swap the rows and columns. So it'll make it like this, just like a bar graph, you can say that. So there are many ways to go around this thing. So moving on to the analytics tab here, you would be able to summarize your data, or you can do some statistics or probability maybe with the data. So for instance, if you want to create a box plot, or if you want to calculate median with quartiles, or you want an average line, so it's pretty much easy to do that in analytics part. So Obviously, I will be creating a separate video only for analytics because I want you guys to deep dive into each and every concept of Tableau because I don't want to rush things. So that's about the analytics tab. That's all from my side for today's session. If you have any queries or any suggestions or any problems, feel free to comment down below, or you can mail us in our or you can mail us at our email address, which is there in the description box below. And that's all from my side. Be safe and stay at your home and stay strong. Thank you.